Hi cuties, let me ask y'all something. You ever seen or had one of those little stinky, crusty white dogs that no matter how blind, deaf, and broken they become, they simply do not die, bitch? Yeah, that's the PS4, not gonna lie. Recently, it has been announced that last year's Star Wars Jedi Survivor will be making its glorious debut on these dusty, crusty ass 2013 consoles, and my question is just why? For those of you who have played this game, you know the various amount of headlines that were written about how terrible the performance was even on beefy ass PCs and the current generation of consoles, and now they're gonna put it on something even worse. I can only imagine the technical issues it's going to have, but who knows, maybe they pull off a fucking miracle. Anyways, we gotta discuss the grand issue here. These generational gaps are getting slimmer and slimmer. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, right? And I went from playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on PlayStation 1, then I went to my rich friend's house and saw the same game on PS2 and I damn near shit myself, bruh. Tony Hawk doing the 900 in that high of fidelity was insane, or even going from something like Metal Gear Solid 1 to Metal Gear Solid 2. Seeing the rain effects drop off that motherfucker's trench coat on the bridge, I mean, oh my goodness! I mean, damn, even going from the PS2 to the PS3 was a huge jump. Granted, that 360/PS3 era was notorious for having lower frame rates at the sake of having nice 720p graphics at the time, but still, we had The Last of Us on a PS3, like damn bro. Point being, I really just do not think we will ever see a jump that huge again. Big AAA video game releases are getting fewer and far between, and the PS5/Series X series of consoles are close to like a mid-tier PC at this point. I'm gonna call it right now. I think by the time the PlayStation 6 and Xbox Deckin' Balls, whatever they decide to call it, I believe those consoles will have cross-generation support for even longer than the PS4 and Xbox One. The PlayStation 5 has already sold 60 million units, and the PS4 sold about 120 over its entire life, so, I mean, give the PS5 a few more years and it might be able to scratch that 100 million area. It makes sense financially to continue supporting the last gen, especially with that many units in so many people's homes, and as I said prior, the PlayStation 5 is essentially just a souped up PlayStation 4. I mean, there's a few first-party Sony games on PlayStation 5 that would probably make the PS4 explode into bacon bits, bitch, like Ratchet & Clank and Returnal, but I mean, they somehow squeezed Horizon Forbidden West and Ragnarok on that old ass bitch. People like to shit on the Nintendo Switch for being ancient, and I'm aware it's even weaker than the PS4 technically, but I mean, damn, if the Switch is ancient, the PS4 is prehistoric, coming out in 2013. It's kind of funny because, like, there's a lot of gaming discourse with the Series S. It gets shit on because, you know, certain anonymous developers have allegedly come out and said that it is a pain to work with. But I mean, bro, some of these games are still dropping for the generation prior to. Like, what are we talking about here? I theorize with my correct Ripper opinion that with every new generational jump now, it won't be a matter of a crazy increase in fidelity and resolution and frames and all that, but rather just better animation work and more shit happening in the game, like foliage and pedestrian density in open world games. The PlayStation 5 and the Series X are great consoles that are capable of a lot, and that's why when I hear these PS5 Pro rumors, I'm like, for what, bro? Basically, all the competitive shooters are capable of 120 FPS. Games can run at 4K and look absolutely smack-a-lackin', and to be honest, most casual gamers do not give a flying fuck about graphics. If you wanted to make the argument that maybe, you know, the PS5 Pro will be able to run games at 4K 120, I mean, who even has that monitor? Like, come on, dude. Anyways, back to last gen. I think it's honestly kind of a cool novelty that we still get $60 AAA games on the last generation, especially because in this modern economy, it's just good to have games be as affordable as possible because they are still a luxury at the end of the day. I believe that we're getting to a point with these video game releases that most consoles will be able to run the games with no problem. Let's take the Steam Deck, for example. That is a great baseline for any modern PC game that's going to come out. Just make sure that bitch runs on the Steam Deck and bow, that's your minimum spec requirements right there. It's kind of the same thing with perhaps like every new Call of Duty, for example. Just make sure the Xbox One and PS4 motherfuckers get to eat too, and you're good. But I really do think there is a risk with this. Hear me out, cuties. I feel there's certain people who are not in a rush at all to get these current gen consoles because they know they'll be able to play 90% of the newest releases still in 2024. I mean, we are halfway through this PS5 lifecycle, and there's only like a handful of true Sony first-party exclusives that you can only play on PS5. When College Football 25 came out, there was a gigantic jump in Series X and S sales simply to play a brand new video game. I think we might see that same jump when GTA 6 drops too. Everybody and their mom about to be playing that bitch killing innocent civilians. It's gonna be great. But, I mean, we never used to have this problem. You had to get an Xbox 360 to play Halo 3. That OG box is not gonna cut it. You had to get a PS3 to play Metal Gear Solid 4 and see Snake's old ass cheeks. That PS2 is not gonna cut it. Here's the thing, my cuties. In my honest, correct Ripper opinion, the truth of the matter is there is still so much life left in the last generation of consoles. I mean, on the Xbox One, there is a myriad of titles for anyone to check out with Game Pass at any given time, and even Xbox 360 and OG Xbox support. And on the PS4, you get to check out honestly one of the greatest catalog of exclusives, including the entire Last of Us series, the new God of War saga, Gran Turismo, I mean damn! As I said earlier too, these current gen consoles came at a time during the pandemic when people did not have much money to spend on this stupid type of shit, alright? And since then, it really hasn't gotten much better, so I understand people who are not in the biggest rush to get the latest and greatest shit right here. But there might be a discussion that perhaps keeping these geriatric 2013 plastic boxes around might be what's keeping this current generation from really blooming into the best it can be. I don't know though, we have gotten crazy ass bangers like Baldur's Gate 3 and shit, so maybe I'm just yapping, I don't know. What do y'all think though? You still turning on that PS4 and hearing that jet engine spark up every day? Or have you moved on and want all those old boxes to simply explode into dust? It's a really interesting topic, and I just can't believe we're about to get something like Jedi Survivor on last gen, because that shit was making my PS5 look like a PS2 with the frame rate, so tell me your thoughts. As for me, Jack the Ripper, I have a PS5 and Series X, so there's no real reason for me to go back given the backwards compatibility shit, but at this current time, I've played my PS2 more than anything this year because it's the GOAT, bitch. That's really about it though, my cuties. That Jedi Survivor announcement had me baffled, and it really just got me thinking on the current state of the last generation of consoles still being around and kicking, so of course I had to come yap to you all because you guys are all I trust, okay? By the way, thank y'all for 711 subscribers. I love you to death. Sorry for the lack of uploading last week too. I was sick as a dog, but nothing keeps the Ripper down, okay? So drop a PS4 on the like button, perhaps an Xbox One on the subscribe, and I love you guys.
Bye!